So, do you guys want to know a couple of fun things before I begin this video? So, um, I had a setting, I guess because I did a reset on my PlayStation. LAN cable wasn't working. It's a Sony issue. LAN cable wasn't working, so long story short, I did a reset. Some settings were reset, and it wasn't picking up my mic in the recording. So I recorded a whole 30-minute video, and it didn't pick up my audio, so we're unfortunately doing it again. But we'll get into that. So I've never used this in the corner after my knockdown, and there's a reason for that, and I'll begin to show you the reason. So when I got into Master Rank, I've been thinking to myself, when you saw there spitting knuckle with, that's when you try to go for the heavy version, for me at least. Plus 10. You think to yourself, oh, it's faster, so I'm just going to keep doing this over and over again and hold down. And here's what ends up happening. You're going to see an interaction I'm sure you guile players have seen a lot. So if you go for a fireball and then another one, and then immediately another one, you can't even cancel out to any anti-airs. But here's the thing. If you do fireball and immediately another fireball afterwards, depending on the distance, by the way, you get an anti-air. You see that. I threw one, but I was still able to punish them just with this. I can't time it for the flash kick, but just pressing the circle button's easier. But we do this. And it depends on the spacing, like I said. But I shouldn't be able to do that. You're probably like, what the fuck, how'd you do that? You know, because I'm shooting one immediately. I'm just spamming it, but I'm still able to. It's because since the fireball is so slow to travel, it means they block it later. Which means they block it later, you get your charge. Here's what's happening. You're doing a fast fireball, you're shooting another one, and it reaches them so fast you have no time to charge. So here's what that keeps looking like. It's looking something like you jumping in the air doing the jump heel click. You're like, why the fuck is the heel click coming out? It's because of that reason. Not to mention, close range, you do not want to be going for fast fireballs. In a match like Terry, it's good because fast fireballs catch it when he does his ground fireball. So it's good in some scenarios, the fast fireball. But majority of time, see, plus 18 before you jumped. We're going to do a fast one. 9. We're going to do a 15. That was the fast one, 9. The slow one is 17 frames. What this means is, for instance, if we set the opponent to OD cannon spike, so we're going to do a fast one and try to approach. You know, it's not true. It's not a true block string, which means there's no gap. No, which means there's a gap. So they successfully pull that off. If we do the medium, it's close, but it doesn't really work. If we do this, the slow one, they can't mash or do anything. They can't get away with it because we're more plus, so that means we can approach, which means, you know, more mix-ups, you know, more everything. I bet some guile players didn't know this. I didn't know this. You know, I won't really have any shame admitting this. This is something I never knew because this is my first Street Fighter game, by the way. I don't know these things. So 19 frame advantage. That's insane. You could just push afterwards. You know, 10, 14, and it only gets tremendously higher. See, it's more plus when you back up. 21, 13. So it depends on the spacing. The more you're back, the more it's plus, I think, from a certain distance. You just have to find the sweet spots. So basically, don't shoot a fast fireball and then another fast fireball. The recovery is going to kill you if you just do it repeatedly over and over. You keep getting jumped on, you keep trying to do a flash kick, and this keeps coming out. You're like, what the fuck? Do a slow one. And if you're going to do another slow one, do the circle. Because you have way more recovery, it reaches them slower. You see what I mean? So every single time I've gotten a knockdown in the corner, and I have reset to wake up DP. So I did this, I've set the orb, and there's very strict timing to actually blocking the DP. I think you can, but it has to be like, maybe I set the orb faster, but it's just like impossible. It seems like. I think I've gotten timing where it hasn't been so bad. But for the most part, it's just really difficult to pull off. And I've stopped doing it in the corner since I'm like, okay, DPs are just going to beat it. You know, obviously, let's just say, for instance, they're going to do wake up level 1. You know, beats it, punish counter. Let's just say they're going to do level 3. You know, you could still block it, because I don't know if it's like slower or something. I'm not sure how that works. But so it was basically that mindset up until I figured this out. I've been seeing the professionals do it. Simply, you use. So let me turn this off. 39. It changed, but since I turned that off, let me show you again. So she's going to do nothing on wake up. 39. I'm going to do the light version of the flash kick. 36. I'm going to do the flash kick again. 39. It gives you 3 extra frames to work with. And I'm going to show you why that's important. I'm going to set her to OD cannon spike, which is DP. I'm going to set it down. And, you know, the opponent's not going to DP 3 times unless they're a fucking psychopath. But basically, and also, it gives you... What does this shit do? 1200. Oh shit, oops. When you get the flash kick, you get 200 extra damage. You get more damage and more time for your knockdown by doing the heavy version of the flash kick. I have never known this. So we went over the sonic booms, and then we went over the knockdown orb. So we went over those two, and so what I was getting at is that something you realize, and I'm gonna go to the character select menu real quick. I've been hearing the term shimmy so many times. And actually, let me show you something else. I missed it. I've been hearing the term shimmy so many times, and it's been confusing me as a guile player, rightfully so. Because this character doesn't have a throw loop. And like 90% of characters in this game have a throw loop where you could just grab, approach, grab, then back up. The most powerful thing in this game, by far, some people say it removes skill, very controversial. So the thing is with Guile, I've been struggling with the whole pressure thing, and it's because I've never used his most OP, like, you know, I'm going to get later into the video, fireball after grab, or knockdown into the orb, and you know, you can use that as a shimmy, or you could grab, you know, free pressure like that. And that stuff, if you just have no corner pressure, you're not abusing any of the fireball traps with Guile, you're not going to get far playing him, because this whole cast has grab loops and a bunch of stupid shit in their arsenal, plus drive impact. It's just a huge mental stack, number one. And number two, you know, like I said before, 90% of the cast just has a throw loop. Because initially what I thought is that a throw loop, or sorry, a shimmy looks something like this. And this is what it is at its core. It's basically grab bait, and you just kind of back up. So in other words, they think you're gonna, you know, it's like a tick throw bait, but you still like go behind them. Then, you know, you decide to go for the grab. That's the 50-50. So you decide what you want to do. And I've been doing this the whole time, never applying corner pressure, never knowing how important the corner is. Because at Guile's core, he's a defensive character, which doesn't really work in this game, and he's very powerful. I'm not saying he's not, but a character like Mai is just, does what they needed to do. EX Fireball, you could push afterwards. You could get a lot of stupid shit after that. You could probably even bait a DP. You need an aggressive character. And Guile does have Fireball, walking forward to the opponent. He does have a very bunch of powerful tools, but you have to be implementing those. You have to get them in the corner with Guile because pretty much he's unstoppable. He doesn't have throw loop, but you set up these fireball traps, which I'm about to get into, and you set up these orbs doing the knockdown, and that's where he like truly shines. Something I didn't mention in this video is that even if you get plus 0 on block with the rush bazooka in you, you could still trade with the opponent with just your square button. So bazooka knee is really powerful. Never knew that, and also never knew that you just need plus 2 to 3 frames to win against the mash off. Always thought it was plus 4, but nope. The problem is I normally just grabbed too much, and yeah, once I stopped grabbing and just always started going for the fist option, and then rarely implementing the grab, it helped a lot. So you could do something like that. I don't know if the timing is easier for a slow or fast fireball, but I got 5,000 damage. Of course, perfect berry. Of course, I'm in, below 30% health, so I'm going to get my cinematic little finish. So more damage. But you see what the idea is. You get that, and then you get a full punish afterwards. Let me show you again. You get a full punish. And since it's a punish counter, you get a whopping 3,000 damage for just going for the level 1. So 3,120 damage, as you saw, which is insane. And that's if you could predict a wake up level 1. And it's crazy because, like I said before, you could do something like grab. You're like, oh, time to grab again. You might even get a punish counter with more damage. You know for a fact if your character doesn't have a DP, because unfortunately DPs, at least Kami's DP, beats the fireball after grab. And I'll get into how you deal with that. But, if you have a decent read, if you're like, oh, they're going to go for it. If you're like, oh, they're going to go for it, then you just do that. And you could do the same thing. You could get on Guile's safe jump, which I'll pull off. You can either go for the EX extension, or, the safe jump. And I actually haven't tested out how much damage, because that scales like crazy because it's a punish counter. How much damage does the EX DP included with all that do? Let's actually test that out. $4,020 damage. And let me actually show you something about Guile. I never knew this until I tested this out. This is just something I learned on my own. So a little thing about Guile is that if you turn Do Not Block on, so let's just say I pull this off, and I do the EX immediately, I get 3,000, fucking hell, I get 3,100 damage. Okay, you're like, okay, what's the point of this? Oh shit. You get 300 extra damage if you wait for them to hit the ground and then you go for it. I don't know if like a lot of Guile players know this, but you just get more damage, so why not go for it? I don't know if it changes the knockdown or what. Yeah, it probably tells me, but yeah. So basically that. You get 300 more damage, why not go for it? Maybe something you didn't know. Now, if you are gonna go for, let's just say you go for the grab, and you're like, okay, it beats level 1, but let's just say you have a level 3 prediction, or you want to play it safe. You could do something what's called a feint. So what you can do instead is, you know, let's just say they're going to do DP. You know, you maybe jab instead of a fireball, and maybe that'll work. So let's just say you're in a rhythm. Throw, rush, throw, and... Or... No. Okay. Let's just say you're in a rhythm of doing a bunch of fireballs after a grab. And so they know you're going to fireball, so they try to wake up level 3. Well, here's what you could do. They think you're going to fireball, and you just do one jab, and that might feint them. That's all I could really come up with, and I just came up with that myself. You could do that for DP, and, you know, obviously for level 3, so they think you're going to do the fireball like always. Nope. Shut them down, and just punish them like that. A special mention in this video, and I'm about to go over all the things I went over, so this will be coming up the end of this video. But something I wanted to mention as well, let's just say you're in the corner. A bunch of guile players maybe not know what to do as much. You know, let's say you're stuck in the corner, you're scared. And guile does have a lot of options, you know. You have, obviously, guard cancel, which is universal, but, you know, DP is where it's at. So, you have DP, you have your fireballs, just try not to get drive impacted. You know, backwards jumps, you know, neutral jumps, whatever the fuck. So you have all that. It's risky, but something I also figured out is, you know, guile could do this. Let's make sure they're not blocking. So I do this all the time with guile. And then you could block afterwards. I don't know if you could back up from a grab. I can test it out, so I'm going to do wake up, grab. I don't think I've tested this out. So you can't back out of it, but I'm pretty sure you could backdash. So yeah, you can, you know, you can backdash it like that. But I think if you do the backdash, it might get caught by a button. So it's kind of more of a read. I also don't know if you could just... Oh, you probably could just do that. You probably could just jump and get a better scenario. And here's the thing about guile too. I don't know if you guys use this. This has saved me more times than I like to admit. No, I will admit it. I have no problem admitting it. This shit is OP. Use this for guile all the time. And what that is basically you get a combo in the corner. So you get something like, you know, and let's just say you end it off with that. I probably don't have to use that example, but you could do something like this. You get 2 skips. I do 2 skips. I think there's like probably better setups, but I've always did it like this. It just looks cool as well. I just do double bazooka after the level 1. And I just get a full corner swap. This is really important to utilize because the corner is the most important thing in the game. Rather if your character has fireball traps in the corner or just, you know, throw loops, which are really, you know, they're everywhere. You know, 90% of the cast, like I said. So really important that you utilize the side switch level 1. And also it's a risky option. But also just try going for the sweep. But yeah. Okay, so the first thing we went over was obviously the fireball spacing. I told you why this is important. You don't want to do fast fireball into another fast fireball. You can't anti-air. You're setting yourself up for failure. What you could do instead is double fireball, and you could, you know, you have way more time since it approaches them slower depending on if they block it or not. Also, just more plus frames. You know, plus 22 at a similar distance, plus 11. Plus 2. +5. The second thing we went over in the video is the knockdown orb. So basically, you know, use the heavy knockdown because you have way more time to do stuff. You know, set that up, and you know, obviously beats level 3s, I believe, Cammy's at least, level 1s, it's Guts. You know, it's just a very overpowered trap I've not been utilizing, which I believe will improve my gameplay tremendously. And also, you're, like I said, you know, beats the DP. Wake Up OD Spiral Cannon Spike, actually. And all you have to do is, just do that. And block it. And you get a full meterless counter. And of course, the last thing in the video, which is very helpful unless you think they're going to DP, just try to feint them or, you know, just try to mix them. But like I said, this does beat level 1s from my understanding. OD Spiral Arrow. Let me make sure it's the correct one. Okay, so we have the level 1 set. Like I said, if you have a read, or in general, this just beats, you know, maybe sometimes if they want to mash or, you know, level 1. But also, even if they block it, I'm pretty sure you're +3. You're +3 if you do slow fireball. I think +2 if you do the fast one from the range. So let's just say you do this and they don't even do anything on Wake Up. They're just like, oh, I just want to block it. You know, still +3, so you have some leeway still. But it's way better than just going after grab. You know, it's more of a safer way to approach unless they do have DP. And also, I've talked about this. You get a combo. You know, you do a double bazooka knee, and you're just full corner carry. So really good tool, and definitely something I use a lot. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, these are tools I have not implemented, because I'm just like, the orb never works, it always gets DP'd. It's because the timing is just, it's so difficult to place it down before they do Wake Up DP or anything like that. So go for the 39 frame knockdown, the heavy flash kick, you get more frames, more damage. There's no reason you shouldn't do it. Just go for the light blade. Booms on level 1 supers, and the sonic boom spacing, and the light sonic booms, and the use of them, as well as the side switches. But yeah, I'm just glad it's able to pick up my mic now. Hopefully, you know, it just did kind of suck. I haven't uploaded in, I believe, 3 to 4 months, something like that. And then my mic wasn't working, so I had to scrap a 30-minute long video, but I'm way more concise, and I can talk better in this video, and not really talk better, but formulate, just formulate everything I'd want to say better, so yeah. But I hope this helped. If it did help, just give a like, give a sub. It does help. So you guys have a good time.